Joining us now to discuss the threat of future cyber attacks is Gil Barak, an information security expert and the co-founder of SECDO. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so there is nothing more frightening than the idea of somebody hacking your computer and accessing your personal information online and then using that against you. And this type of damage is even greater when you're dealing with large companies and public entities, clearly. So let's start by having you explain what happened with this latest attack that we just spoke about.
Right. So basically, this attack is very similar to the same attack that has been happening for the past 3 years. It's what we call a ransomware-based attack. So basically, the criminals are infecting computers in organizations, and then, in this case, waiting until a specific time, and then triggering their attack at a single point of time across all the organizations.
So what does that type of damage look like? When you say an infection, how does that play out? What are the real-life implications?
So the initial infection just gives the criminals control. In this specific case, they install a ransomware attack, which encrypts all the files of the companies, making them inaccessible. Wow. So technically speaking, what happens is those organizations are unable to access their data, and essentially everything is gone. Unless, of course, they pay a ransom. At least that's what the criminals are asking for.
So in this case, what just happened is a matter of criminals who want money, and they're, I guess, shutting down systems and public entities and large companies to get that money.
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, how did this attack manage to spread across the world and affect so many different countries?
So as I mentioned, this attack is the same as been happening for the past 3 years. The only difference is this time they're using a new weapon. They're using something called the NSA hack toolkit, or basically it's about a month ago or so, the NSA hacking tools were leaked to the public. And they're using those capabilities to spread across the world. And those capabilities let them essentially infect any computer they want with a single click.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. It's very, very interesting to hear about this. But I think what has been on our minds here, specifically in Israel, is why Israel was less affected, because we didn't see the same outcome here in the Israeli state. And some say that's because many of the businesses in Israel were closed on Saturday over the weekend. But is there more to that? Is there more behind why Israel wasn't affected?
So I think it's two reasons. One, again, luck. Luck is always good to have. And Friday, most businesses were closed. The way the attack happens is companies receive an email. It's usually called a spear phishing attack. It's an email that appears to be legitimate. It can be from Microsoft, from a friend of yours, and it has a link that you can press. And if you press it, you get infected. Now,
well, yeah, so if nobody's functioning in the office, obviously they're not going to open that email.
Exactly. So that's one of them. And the other is when we investigated this attack specifically, it seemed to target European countries first. You can even see it supports languages in from many countries, but not Hebrew, at least not just yet. So it's really a question of time.
This is very interesting. Now, my question for you is, in the case that Israel were to be affected by this type of cyber attack, what are the consequences? And are the infrastructure bodies in Israel capable of handling and dealing with this type of attack?
So I think that the main risk to Israel, first of all, is not actually the ransomware, as it seems to appear in the media, but really a much bigger threat. So this new NSA tool gives the criminals access to all the computers. So if you have mobile operators or electrical companies or gas companies, they can use this capability to do whatever they want. So they can derail trains. They can disrupt the electricity. They can essentially do anything you can imagine. Healthcare, even worse. They might even take blood types and change them in actual accounts.
Is Israel prepared, for this type of cyber attack?
So it's a good question. I think that there are many security companies coming out of Israel. So Israel, in a sense, is a great place to be in because you get access to all these capabilities from all these different vendors. But what I would recommend to most of the companies is to actually be preemptive. So rather than wait for them to get attacked, they should react, and they should use capabilities to adapt, to learn and see how the attack actually happened, and then protect themselves before they get attacked.
And a lot of that software is coming out of Israel itself, these kind of preemptive ways in which you can protect your company, no?
Correct.
So, maybe you could talk to us a little bit about what your company does. Have you created a software that helps deal with this?
Right, yes. So our solution is basically what we call preemptive incident response. Essentially, imagine like in the world of healthcare, let's say these attacks are basically like infections, like real life biological infections. And no one company can, promise you one vaccine that blocks all types of infections beforehand. But when an infection spreads, you can react and respond as fast as possible within minutes. And that's basically what our solution does. It gives the customers the ability to respond, and in just a few minutes, in this case, for example, a month ago, before the attack actually spread, to prepare and protect. And in fact, many of our customers have done that.
I mean, the world that we're living in is a very different one, and I think that it's becoming more and more clear that cyber attacks and cyber threats are one of the biggest issues that we're going to be facing. So it seems like the company that you've created and the software that you are offering is something that many companies may want to consider getting for themselves. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, thank you.